Welcome to the June 23rd public hearing for the City of Tampa's Barrio Latino Commission. Welcome everyone, I'm Rich Simmons, Chair of the Commission. If you are here to present a project, you will have limited time to make your presentation, so we suggest being thorough but concise. When coming to the microphone, you will need to identify yourself and your relationship to the project. The commissioners will not ask any questions during your presentation. Your project should be presented in the following order: site plan, elevations, architectural details, wall sections. Staff presents staff report. We will then ask for public comment. Please state and spell your name clearly for the record. If you're here to speak for or against a project, your time will be limited to 3 minutes, so take some time now to summarize your comments. Following public comment, the commissioners will be asking questions in the same order as the presentation. Next, the applicant will have 5 minutes for rebuttal. The public hearing will then be closed. After the public hearing is closed, no further testimony can be given. The commissioners will then discuss the case and make their decision based upon Chapter 27 of the City Code of Ordinances, the design guidelines, the Secretary of Interior standards, Historic Preservation Development Review Committee comments, and the testimony given today at this public hearing. The BLC can only act on items that are within our specific jurisdictional responsibility. Owner agents are independently responsible to obtain any appropriate permits and/or approvals. If you haven't already done so, please silence your cell phones. And we'll start with the introduction of my other fellow commissioners, starting on my left.
Hello, good morning. Chase Corley.
Good morning, Ansley Wright.
Good morning, Susan Klaus-Smith.
And we have Ron Vila, Jared Varnum, Heather Bonds, and Dana Crosby Collier from legal from city staff today. Okay, we have the minutes for the May 26th, 2026 meeting in our agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review?
I'd like to make a motion to enter the minutes into the record.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And Mr. Vila.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Ron Vila. I'm a planner with Historic Preservation. And moving down the agenda under announcements, we have the BLC staff approvals for this month. They are in your packets. At the end of the hearing, we could receive and file these. Also under announcements, this month, staff has worked on a portion of Tampa Union Station. The publication is Tampa Bricks and Mortar. This is something that is on our website, and we have some copies outside for the public if they wish to follow through. And keeping with the theme of Tampa Union Station, we're going to move towards the preservation in progress. It's a segment that we like to share with everybody. We feature a historic building or a historic site within the districts to share with the public. This month, Preservation in Progress is Tampa Union Station, as I stated. To show the location, this is the aerial map. Tampa Union Station is located in downtown Tampa on Nebraska at the intersection of Twiggs Street. Nucio runs along the north side of the property and along the railroad. This is showing an aerial that dates back to the early 1900s. Tampa Union Station opened on May 15th, 1912, and is serviced by passenger rail lines that reach Tampa, including the Atlantic Coastline and the Seaboard Airline Railroad. At that time, the Sanborn map indicated some of the structures that were there. In 1915, the Sanborn map shows the brick portion of Tampa Union Station, along with some of the outbuildings. The building was on the National Register in 1974 and became a local landmark in 1998. Moving forward, you see some pictures here of the early years of the station, and then you see a postcard that's associated with Tampa Union Station. J.F. Leitner was the architect. He moved forward with the Italian Renaissance revival style with the large arch openings that are associated with the building, the coins, the Corinthian columns, and the elaborate terracotta cornice. In 1990, one of the rehabilitations moved forward. Amtrak decided to move its offices and its waiting area into the adjacent prefab structure, Tampa Union Station. Preservationist and Redevelopment Corporation purchased the station with the intentions of taking a full rehabilitation at that time. The baggage room was rehabilitated in 2020. We looked at this administratively and moved forward. As a progression of the building, this shows the building. There were 3D scans taken in 2021, were used to capture the existing conditions. The LiDAR scans used to perform the scanning is accurate within 2 millimeters. So they're very accurate. The building here in 2024 received an additional rehabilitation. The building has suffered some devastation through the time. Moving forward in 2025, it shows here the progression that the building was tenanted as it was moving forward towards the rehabilitation. This is some pictures of the interior. The current rehabilitation also includes interior work, including the plaster and updating the bathrooms. And as I stated, this is from the Burger Brother photo collection. You could read more about this in the Tampa Bricks and Mortar. Moving forward, legal will address the board at this time.
Good morning, Dana Crosby Collier from Legal. Would like to inquire if any member has a conflict of interest with any item on the agenda this morning.
I do not.
Seeing none, has any member engaged in ex parte communication regarding any item on the agenda this morning?
Have none.
No, thank you.
Under continuations, we have none reflected, so we're ready to move forward to the swearing. Everybody that wishes to testify, please stand up and raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony being provided today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do. Dana, you want to take the lead on moving forward on this?
So, good morning, Dana Crosby Collier Legal. Item 1 on the agenda is a motion to rescind prior action from the BLC public hearing on May 5th, 2026. The item that you heard on May 5th, 2026 had been misnoticed, and so it's necessary to rehear the item as it has now been properly noticed. It's a very simple procedure to rescind a former action. Any member can do that, regardless of how you voted, although you all voted in favor of the recommendation on May 5th. And I have provided you text of a motion to rescind. It's in front of you. So we'll just need a motion to rescind the prior May 5th action, and then at that point in time, we'll rehear the item that you heard on May 5th.
I'd like to move to rescind the motion that the Barrio Latino Commission approved at its May 5th, 2026 meeting regarding BLC 26-000091/REZ 26-000028 to recommend approval with conditions of the rezoning of the property described below from YC1, YC2, YC4, YC5, YC6, YC7, and YC8 to PDA. The property is described as a 30.63 plus or minus acre assemblage comprising 55 parcels, 38 of which are located in the Ybor City Historic District, generally located in an area bounded by East 11th Avenue to the north, North 26th Street on the east, East 4th Avenue to the south, and North 19th Street on the west.
I second.
All in favor of said motion to rescind, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Bonds?
Good morning. Heather Bonds, Historic Preservation Specialist. We'll be reviewing BLC -26 -00091. Please have the PowerPoint up, please. Thank you. This thing works today. All right, it does not today. All right. This is a request for a recommendation to City Council to rezone, or as part of REZ-26-28, for a series of parcels from YC1, YC2, YC4, YC5, YC6, YC7, YC8 to PDA/YC9. This is the general location of the rezoning PDA and YC9 area. These are the boundaries up close. You'll see there is a section outside of the historic district, which is indicated with the red line. That is not under the BLC purview, so your recommendation is for the area to the left and north of that line. This is the block identification as presented by the applicants in their design guideline book. Everything is referred to by these block identifications, and the staff report presented our analysis block by block on these individual blocks. These are some site photos. Again, there's 33 acres involved with this PDA/YC9 rezoning and the multiple different blocks. So this is just a sampling of representation of what is in the area, which is a mix of parking lots, vacant properties, as well as some high traffic areas along 7th Avenue and 21st and 22nd Street. So this is the area that we are taking into concern today. And with that, we're going to ask the applicant to come by and present their request to you.
Good morning, Alex Shaler, 400 North Ashley Drive, the law firm of Gardner Brewer Hudson. Out of respect for the board's time, we were not planning to represent the presentation we gave before. Nothing has changed as part of the project, but we did repost 117 signs in Ybor. But happy to answer any questions, but again, nothing's changed from the last hearing. And we accept all of the conditions from the last hearing as well. Those have already been incorporated into the rezoning.
Back to the PowerPoint. This is staff report. The BLC is authorized to make a recommendation to City Council through 27-95H, and that is the extent necessary to preserve the historical integrity and appearance is your main criteria in reviewing this recommendation. This is the Ybor City Historic District zoning currently, to put it in context. And this is the proposed PDA YC9 area so that you can see the change in zoning. We've been working with the applicants since their March 6th application submittal. We originally had these areas of concern. The applicants have met in person with staff and as well as the two previous meetings, so they've taken into account these areas of original concern. They have submitted revisions to us and included in the PDA guidebook. So with that, staff also considered in the updated staff report that staff will review each proposed block, new construction, or any alteration through the certificate of appropriateness process. The redevelopment also offers the potential to reintroduce the form and character to areas in Ybor City's vacant and underutilized areas. As expressed by the applicants, The massing models, illustrations, proposed uses, and block visions included in the PDA design guidelines are examples and do not reflect the final design, so that was one of the major points that we've taken into account. The PDA entitlements is what we are mainly looking at as we move forward with this recommendation. They did not have comparable historic references within the district, which may result in massing, scale, and heights which are not compatible with the historic patterns. That was our largest concern. So with that, we have found that the request is consistent with the following conditions to address that last point. The proposed conditions is 1, any new building that is adjacent to a contributing structure shall have the top story set back for a type A street as defined in their guidelines. There will be no vertical expansion of contributing structures within the PDA YC9 zoning. Additional stories, rooftop additions, and increases to the height of any contributing structure is prohibited. The maximum permitted building height on block B8 shall be reduced to the current height limit of 60 feet to 45 feet. So they are currently entitled to 60 feet on block B8, but they will agree to the entitlement less of 45 feet. The maximum permitted building height on the north half of block C4 shall be reduced to 45 feet. 5, a certificate of appropriateness is required for all exterior work, all exterior construction work on the rezoned properties, including new construction, additions, alterations, and demolitions, and shall be subject to the CA process administered by the BLC. No exterior work shall commence without an approved CA except for ordinary repair and maintenance to the extent expressly exempted by the Ybor City Historic District Regulations and Code. 6, the applicant is prohibited from utilizing the substantial change determination process set forth in 27-128B to obtain any administrative approval for height increases for any parcel in the PDA YC9 zoning. 7, new curb cuts are prohibited along 7th Avenue in the Ybor City Historic District. All vehicular egress and ingress for the properties fronting 7th Avenue shall be taken from side street, alleys, or existing access points only. 8, architectural breaks shall be designed at intervals of no more than 25 to 50 feet along each public street frontage. For purposes of this condition, an architectural break means a meaningful change in the facade plane, material, fenestration pattern, or equivalent treatment that is sufficient to read as a separate building component, consistent with the rhythm of the buildings in the Ybor City Historic District. 9, all 7th Avenue top-story front walls be set back 20 feet from the primary wall, and all 7th Avenue corner walls shall be set at a minimum of 15 feet from the primary wall edge, all other top heights to remain at the proposed 20-foot minimum. I'll state on this condition, when we went through at the last meeting, that condition identified the corners as 2 individual streets. For our new staff report, we have altered this condition for all 7th Avenue fronting buildings, so all the corners along 7th Avenue, not just the 2 identified previously, or the 2 corners. 10, traditional storefront designs will be considered for 0 lot line commercial entrances, including recessed entries, plate glass window displays, bulkhead bases, truncated entries. Balconies and canopies will be introduced where feasible. 11, within the entitlement chart, provide setbacks for each street type and distinguish the max height and top floor height for each block. The applicant will work with natural resource staff on the grand tree count during incremental review processes. 13 is to clarify with the BLC on conditions to the special type A street setback regulations to start east of 22nd Street instead of east of 23rd Street. That was a condition put in by the BLC at the last meeting. Staff, after listening to the meeting for minutes, we weren't positive of the intent of that condition, so we would like clarification between the applicants and the board on that specific condition. And 9, designate a public space or greenway within A4 to provide potential connectivity to the streetcar station. Again, this was one of the conditions that the board added, and as a recommendation to consider, we put this in as a mandatory recommendation as part of our staff report. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions about any of those conditions. The BLC can alter any, add any, or delete any at their pleasure. We also have natural resources staff here for any questions. And I also want to mention that 4 letters from the public came in after last month's meeting, so we have included those into the record as well.
Thank you. We'll open this up for public comment. Anyone here from the public wishing to comment, please come to the microphone and identify yourself. Seeing none, we can ask, the commissioners can ask questions of the applicant and staff at this point in time.
I have a question for legal. Because this was a misnotice, the fact that there was no presentation, is that something that we need to be concerned about?
Dana Crosby Collier, City Attorney's Office. The record that will travel with this item is the record that's created now. I would have preferred that the applicant go through a broad overview of their presentation so that there's a record created at this point in the hearing process. Is the applicant prepared to go through a presentation to create a record for to travel with this project?
I can go back through the prior PowerPoint presentation, but I'd just prefer that that be adopted into this record. I don't know that we need to give the same one again, but.
So you're going to have us just receive and file a document?
The presentation from the past. I was under the impression that it all travels with this record since it was already delivered.
The presentation that was delivered with the misnotice, we've now rescinded that action, so it's gone away. At this point in time, this is the product that will move forward. If you would like us to have a motion to receive and file the presentation, we can do that, but it would be preferable if there was a broad overview of the project for this record, because the previous action has been rescinded, so it's no longer.
Okay. Is there any way we can continue this or take a recess so I can check with the applicant? Because like I said, we were not under the impression we were doing this, and I don't want to make a decision for them without checking, if that's okay.
That's entirely up to you how you want to proceed. I can't advise you. It's just that what we have is, what we're sending forward to the council is what's provided today. If you would like us to receive and file your previous presentation, we will send that to council. But the board has raised a very good issue, a very good point, that there's no record of your request at this time.
Sure.
Today.
Okay. If it's okay with the board, can we take a brief recess so I can confirm, or move on to the next item and come back to this?
Yeah, I think the board's okay. Can we have a motion for a 5-minute recess to get this addressed?
Is 5 minutes enough for your needs? Okay. I make a motion for a 5-minute recess.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
the presentation from the last time is that we are rezoning the subject properties to PDA YC9. The recommendation is to PDA/YC9. So it differs from, in that regard, from this cover sheet, but I just wanted to point that out before she gets started.
Okay, thank you. We're back in session. Alex, you-
Sure. Alex Shaler, 400 North Ashley Drive. Thank you for the recess and for dealing with me as I try to figure this out. I can't promise I'm going to give this as well as Avi and the architect from MA, but I will do my very best. Again, as Dana mentioned, so we renoticed this based on the fact that we'd originally noticed as just a PDA. YC9 is Ybor City's planned development category, as you all are aware. We thought that the PDA covered all of it, but understand that City Legal wanted the YC9 in there as well. So renotice it, but again, nothing else has changed besides that clarification language on the proposed zoning. So this is a rendering of the overall rezoning request that we have here. And I'll move through this relatively quickly, but I want to make sure it is in the record. This project encompasses about 55 parcels in East Ybor City. This is a map that staff has shown as well of the PDA area overlaid on the historic district. So there's a combination of current zoning districts on the site, YC1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Again, just a correction on that proposed zoning. It will be PDA and YC9. We are going to face this a little bit. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office blocks are going to go first, and this is supposed to be a legacy project for Darrell. So after we do Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, we're going to slowly move along. And as mentioned, there's going to be a bunch of different uses involved in this. There's residential. We're expecting both multifamily, townhomes, varying different residential types, office, retail, hotel uses. We did commit to a 10% minimum open space requirement, and again, these will be reviewed during the COA process. Also, the city will review incremental site plans or IRWs, in which we'll have a chance to work with the Natural Resources Department as these plans move forward. One of the overarching themes of this request that you'll see throughout this presentation is that we are proposing to reconstruct the grid. That's obviously very important to you all in terms of the historic district. That's something that's very prevalent in Ybor City. So aside from our one alley vacating request, we are trying to do a grid reconstruction in the overall area. Again, this was mentioned before, but all of this will be subject to your individual C of A review process as well for new construction, contributing structure relocations, et cetera. Going into contributing structures, this map here shows, as you can see in kind of that darker purple color, those are all of the contributing structures within the district. And again, all of those will require a COA as we intend to relocate or into, redevelop those structures. We did commit, as part of the conditions in the last hearing, that these contributing structures will not be vertically integrated, so we won't add anything on top of the existing structures that are there today. And the new construction will comply with the guidelines of Ybor City. Again, those are more architecturally focused. These design guidelines of ours that we're referring to as this design guidelines book is more of a hierarching kind of building, massing, placement, public realm, et cetera. But in terms of specific architectural design, that will be deferred to your Ybor City architectural guidelines. Some neighborhood context, as you all know, this area right now is a mix of industrial, there's some residential, retail and commercial uses, but we've said this a lot when we give this presentation, and that right now when you walk out of the Columbia, you can only go towards the existing portion of 7th, you have nowhere to go when you turn right. So that is what we are trying to do, like I said, with this legacy project, is really give people an opportunity to explore what we think could be an extension of 7th Ave with a mix of uses, again, with residential, with office, with retail. We want people to live in the district. We want them to work in the district. And we want there to be that ground plane activation at all hours, not just at night. There will be a mix of different building heights. I know we went through this in detail in the last hearings, but we will have some low-rise buildings, some mid-rise. We had mentioned this before, but the architectural guidelines that we've set up as part of our design guidelines book are essentially a tool that is going to give the architect, different levers that they can pull when designing these buildings. So think the top story setbacks, which we'll get into, think about, the massing and the scale. These are so high level at this point in the process, and we mentioned that, staff mentioned that as well, but all of the massing that we have in our design guidelines book is conceptual. But these specific definitions in terms of top story setbacks and certain setbacks along the corners, those are gonna get you that massing that you want, and then we can let the architect design from there. Why are we doing a PD? PD and a PDA. As you all know, so a lot of this, as I mentioned, is vacant and underutilized. With a PDA, we're able to provide this coordinated, comprehensive set of design guidelines that allow us to develop. And it's interesting because Ybor actually has a really great zoning code compared to the rest of the city. So for most kind of single-use buildings, a lot of them can develop by right in Ybor because of the parking reduction requirements, in the 0-foot build to setback lines. But when you're working on a project that is intended to be signature and legacy, you want it all to look cohesive. You want all of the public realm areas to look the same. You want that specialty street of 7th Ave. You want all of that building setback lines to look the same. So in doing that, we're able to provide, cohesive open space. We're able to do centralized parking, which is a big thing for the district. All of that is afforded with these larger plan developments that we can't do in the zoning code by right. This is the massing diagram that we have, and again, this is very conceptual. We've delineated these by blocks, but these are our top 3 goals, and this is what we really wanted to get across with this overall PDA. We want to be contextually sensitive to the district. That's obviously of utmost importance. We want to do this urban continuity where we're realigning the historic grid. We have these new cross-block connections. As you all know, with the sheriff's office block, we're proposing that new paseo, so it's going to be activated. There's going to be people walking. And then, of course, that leads me to the last point, which is walkability. So we really want this to feel, from the ground level, like you're walking through an extension of Ybor. I mean, that's what we're doing here. So even as we move past and get out of the historic district, I understand that's not part of y'all's purview, but, we want this all to be a continued experience for the citizens of Tampa as they walk down 7th and explore these other areas of Ybor that they haven't been able to in the past. I'll get into the development standards here. This is our street typology plan. As you can see, we've got the streets highlighted in different colors. We've got a lot of type A streets here. Then those type A streets are gonna be local, there's gonna be tree lined. We're gonna have on-street parallel parking, street trees, that's where your retail storefronts are gonna face. And then we also have type B streets. So those are gonna be more of your regional connectors, the vehicular thoroughfares. As you can see, we have that designated. That's 21st, it's 22nd for the most part in Palm. And then we have type C streets. Those are gonna be low traffic connectors, streets that we plan to use for loading or back of house, in terms of kind of where you can see them mid-blocks there. And then we have the specialty street, and that's 7th Avenue. That is highly coordinated design, as we mentioned, to extend the commercial focus historic building fabric. And I know we added a condition last time as well about having those retail facing facades along the specialty street of 7th Avenue as well. And then the paseo, as I mentioned before, I know you all are familiar with that concept, but you can see that shown there in blue. We are gonna reconnect the grid there south of Palm through the sheriff's office current development. And that's going to be pedestrian only, very, foot traffic focused. In terms of the parking requirements, again, as mentioned, this PDA allows us to do district-wide parking, which is really important. We're gonna have certain parking garages that are within the buildings. Again, we're gonna have that retail storefront still, but the parking garages obviously allow us to park a large number of people, which, when people come to this development that don't live here, they need a place to park, and we're hopeful that in the future, that might not be the case, but, for now, we need to be able to park the people that are coming to visit the development. And so we do have our parking ratios listed here on this screen. We're also providing on-site bicycle storage, and that's something that's been really important to City Council, having covered indoor bike parking. So we've made sure that we can incorporate that. And then, of course, the proximity to the Tico streetcar, we are hoping will provide lower car dependency. And we're, as mentioned, we have that kind of transit-oriented section of the blocks up there in the sheriff's office portion. And the reason for that is because of the connectivity to the streetcar line. In terms of our streetscape and landscape improvements, this is a typical section that we're showing here. But again, I mean, we are trying to activate the ground floor. So that's the overall intention here. We are doing over 1.5 miles of new streetscape improvements on public roads within the district. This is a bit different than some of the other larger PDAs we've done in the sense that we're looking at, before we're looking at a blank canvas. We're here, all of these roads are established, but it's our job to make them better. It's our job to improve the public realm as we bring in new tenants and new buildings and new residents to the area. We want to make sure that we have these wide sidewalks and we've got the landscape and the furniture panels. We've also noted that 75% of these new street trees will be shade-producing type 1 trees. That's another thing that City Council's been really pushing. We want to make sure that as people walk along the sidewalks that they're shaded. And then again, 7th Ave is going to retain its existing cadence of palms because those are so present on 7th Ave, and we want to make sure that there was a lot of thought put into that because we wanted shade trees, but the palms are so signature of 7th. So those will remain there. And then again, we're improving the plantings, specialty pavers, integrated seating, some of those sidewalk cafes so that you get that cohesive public realm environment that you see along the activated portion of 7th Ave today. Some of the public improvements that we're making, again, I know I've said this a couple of times, but we're really trying to restore this historic street grid. We try to do that in most of our projects in Ybor City where we can. Improving the alleys with enhanced paving and with lighting, new curbs and sidewalks, and associated pedestrian infrastructure. We are doing stormwater management upgrades to this area as well that we're actively working on with the stormwater department even this early in the planning process. We have our open spaces here mentioned as well as the 9th Ave Paseo. Again, we think those are going to be huge improvements to this area. I mean, as you all are aware, there isn't a ton of green space in Ybor, open, cohesive, activated green space. And so that's something that we're hoping to do with this PDA, especially with those twin parks there as you enter the districts from the east. 23rd Street Park, 7th Ave Gateway Parks, I just mentioned those. We are providing over 100,000 square feet of open space within the historic district specifically, and then 130,000 square feet in the broader PDA area. Community and district impact, again, we're activating these ground floors. We're really trying to extend this walkable urban fabric that Ybor City has further east. This will be a mixed-use development, as mentioned. There's going to be a variety of different uses here because, again, the intent is that people can live here and they can work here and, they can enjoy here on the weekends as well. But we want to make sure it's, all hour activation, not, during offices during the day, residents staying at night, et cetera. In terms of the grand trees, 9 grand trees were identified within this historic district portion of the PDA area. We are able to preserve 8 out of 9 of those grand trees, and this was mentioned before, but this is really unique in that we really tried to design those neighborhood parks and those cohesive open spaces around these key trees. Again, these are great for shade, and we really wanted to make sure that, we take this existing fabric of the land that's here today, these existing natural resources, and how do we take that and adapt it to fit within our new development and be able to maintain those. So yes, as mentioned, these grand tree locations did directly inform the parks as well, and we did try to design everything else, like I said, around kind of this existing canopy. Street reopenings, we discussed this as well. We're going to reopen 20th Street for public access with streetscape improvements. This is going to be a huge benefit for the district. 9th Ave, same thing, this is pedestrian-oriented Paseo. And then in terms of the alley closures, this is not updated. We since removed the B8 vacating, so this is only applicable to D6. And that's just going to be that one alley down there in the bottom right of D6. Again, D8, we are no longer proposing to vacate. In terms of the building heights, this is a helpful diagram here where we have the maximum heights under the current zoning. This is something we worked with staff that was important for us to show, what is allowed today by right. And then we've got our proposed heights by block. Again, as you know, these are caveated in terms of top story setbacks, et cetera. But it is important to note that the existing zoning does permit those height ranges from 35 feet in YC2 and YC8 to the historic district maximum of 60 feet in YC6. currently, under the existing zoning, this was a point that we really wanted to highlight before, is that there are no top-story setbacks required for buildings in YC6. So this is something that we're adding to make sure, again, that these heights are compatible with the historic district fabric. So what we are requiring, we are doing top-story setbacks required for 60-foot buildings when they're fronting pedestrian streets, the minimum 20-foot setback along 7th Ave, and then the minimum 10-foot setback along other streets for at least 40% of the frontage. And again, all of this is textualized in our design guidelines book, so this is something that when the architects go to develop these plans and when we submit COAs to you all of this is going to be reflected in these designs, so we kind of have a jump start in terms of where we are for massing and scaling. Historic landmarks in context, we've got some different buildings shown here on the screen with their elevations and how this design has inspired what we're doing. As you can see, the historic district context for this new development, we were trying to reflect the scale and the massing and some of these features of these historic landmarks. So the top story setbacks you can see from the Cuban Club, these facade breaks on Centro Soriano, the masonry openings of the Italian Club, in the positioning of the Florida Brewery. So some of these that we've taken, like I said, from the district to inspire as this moves forward. And again, this is, as I mentioned, this is massing and scale. So these design inspirations are forming how we can design our building in the future, but all of that's codified in our design guidelines that you all are recommending on today. Envelope to experience. So I think this is really important to set into motion, I mean, how early we are in the process. And so, you know, as we start to develop this district, you know, we have started initially with the envelope. That's what's determined at the rezoning phase. That's what's determined now, what you all are recommending on. Same thing with this top story setback. This is an initial guideline that we can place in the book that, again, allows additional tools for these architects to use in the future to design buildings that you all believe are compliant with the district. And then as we move forward in the design process and we start looking at, you know, what you would typically see in the COAs, which is your facade articulation and your rhythm and the massing and, or in the undulation and all of those different design qualities that you all look for in the COA submittals, that's going to come back to you. So again, we're just kind of looking at a large box, how the boxes are situated on top of each other, how they're positioned from the street. That's the purview of this hearing. And then again, item number 4, materials, details, context, all of that comes later. So we are setting the ceiling with these PDAs. I would like to note that too. You know, not every building is going to be 60 feet with this top story setback. There will be buildings that are 35. There will be buildings at 45. But again, since we're so early in the process, we want to make sure that, you know, we give these architects something to work with in terms of designing this cohesive district. And then each step reduces the perceived height. So I think that this is important to note too, in that this top story setback, what we were doing with that is we were removing the topmost visible mass. So when you're looking, and this was explained better by the architects before, but you know, when you're looking from the ground plane and you're looking up at the building, we are trying to take that line and have that visual line of sight, see only the building at 45 feet or at 60 feet, et cetera. So we're making sure that from the ground plane, from the pedestrian experience, that we don't lose this fabric of the district. Here it is. This is an example of what I was trying to just speak out loud, but as you can see, this dashed line is kind of the visual line of sight of a pedestrian. So you can see that they can see to this point of the building here, and then as, again, we prescribed in the design guidelines that we have those additional setbacks on the top so that visual massing is stacked further back. Again, we went through this in detail before, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but on 7th Ave, we are committing to that minimum 20-foot top story setback from the edge of the facade. 7th Ave, 22nd to 23rd, that 20-foot setback plus the top story is limited to only 50% of the frontage. So you're not going to see, you know, another vertical stack on top of the whole width of the building. It'll just be 50% of the frontage. As you can see on Type A Street, this applies to most blocks, a minimum 10-foot setback for at least 40% of the frontage. And then again, this is very primarily focused on Type A on the 7th Ave Specialty Street. As you look at the Type B and Type C streets, these setbacks fade away. And moving on to the different sub-districts, I mentioned this earlier in terms of the transit-oriented blocks, so I'll start there. As you can see up in the top left corner here, we've designed all of these blocks so that these are going to be, a little bit more higher density. There's going to be multifamily here. This is the connection to the Chico streetcar. So our focus was, it's near Centennial Park, it's near the streetcar. We want this medium density mixed use. We want these activated ground floors there. And then I'll move over to the 7th Ave overlay sub areas. You can see all of that is highlighted there in yellow. That is largely from 22nd Street to 26th Street. This is, your buildings that are fronting 7th Ave. We are being very context sensitive with this infill because this is extending the existing historic corridor here. And then as you move eastward, we move into this transitional sub area. So we're interfacing with the surrounding residential fabric that's already there. So we want to be sensitive to that. And then, again, kind of fading out as we move toward the portions that are outside the historic district and kind of increasing those heights a bit towards the edge. So the non-historic sub area that's shown here in gray, again, I know that's outside of your purview, but we wanted you all to be aware that we are trying to retain these placemaking elements of the district, even as we provide, as we move further and closer to the expressway, we want to make sure, especially along that boundary line, that we're still being very sensitive to the district as we move east. Going into these sub areas in a bit more detail, I mentioned this earlier in terms of the transit-oriented. You can see this is looking east on the recreation of 9th Ave, which will be the Paseo. We are restoring the street grid, which I think will be incredible for this block as we move through. And we're also providing new public access through North 20th Street. So again, I've mentioned this Paseo a few times, but we intend for this to be very wide, very activated, very open for that pedestrian experience here. And in terms of the height on these specific blocks in this transit-oriented sub-area, this is going to be an incremental height. Again, as mentioned, 45 to 60 on most blocks. And we want to make sure that we're accommodating parking near the streetcar. So that's going to be something that we've incorporated here into this transit-oriented area. So this is deploying that top floor setback of 10 feet that I've mentioned before for at least 40% of the frontage along the Type A streets. And this was also something that we mentioned as well. This is codified too, that there is no height increase on the block that is being shared with the 5 historic casitas. So we did note that as well. In terms of the transit-oriented sub-area, we're kind of going in block by block here. As you can see, this is the C4 block. As mentioned, the incremental height and density is pulled away from the contributing structures on this same block, and we're improving the streetscape. We're doing wider sidewalks, again, street trees, and parallel parking. And you can see we've got kind of the building massing shown here in this diagram. We've got the current block zoning, and then as you can see, this is an illustrative block elevation from 9th Avenue looking south. Moving on to the next sub-area, this is a transitional sub-area. So again, we are integrating the surrounding fabric, but this is going to be limited density. 4 of 6 blocks are retaining the current height limits, so this is largely consistent with what's allowed by right today. And again, the remaining 2 blocks do match those YC heights that are already allowed on, in some cases, the same block as well as adjacent blocks. I've noted these twin parks here. Those are on, as you can see there, flanking the eastern gateway to the historic district. Same deal as with the transit-oriented subblocks. We're providing new streetscapes with landscaping, and we're also committing to this 32,500 square feet of open space. And we have those delineated between kind of larger parks, and then we've also got these pocket parks, so we can make sure that it's accessible to all different residents of the district and those that are visiting the district as well. The G4 block remains at 35 feet. And again, this is very consistent. As you can see, there's single-family residential homes north of that G4 block. So want to make sure that we were being sensitive to those homes that exist today, so, and to the east as well. Specifically the D7 block in this transitional sub-area, again, we've got kind of some illustrative building massing shown here, and then you can see this elevation. This is 24th Street looking west. We've got that incremental height adjacent to the CSX tracks, and we've got contributing structure and pocket parks adjacent to the surrounding residential homes as well. And again, this will be meaningful streetscape improvements to a block that currently does lack sidewalks and curbs. So again, kind of improving this whole area of the district as we move further east. The 7th Avenue overlay sub-area, again, this is the signature kind of block within this district. And we're planning to extend 7th Avenue, obviously beyond the Columbia. Like I said, that's kind of what we've tried to explain this on a high level to people about this project. That's the main intent here. As you all know, it's vacant industrial land east of the Columbia. If we could take this, walkable character of the 7th Ave today and expand it eastward, we can open up and unlock, so much other pedestrian experiences and different uses there. Providing open space there as well with parks planned, again, as mentioned, around those grand trees in the historic district. We are trying to create that low-rise pedestrian-focused street wall at 45 feet, which is obviously prevalent of what you see in the district today. And then that 5th-story setback, as mentioned, of 20 feet, enables us to have that ground floor parking behind the retail. Expanded public realm on the south side of the street is also going to enable sidewalk dining and balconies. And then as you can see, incorporating this historic context, Ybor historically has these 0 lot line buildings. And then as mentioned, the Main Street character does begin to diminish east of 22nd. So there's a Sanborn map on the screen as well, so you can kind of see those historic build to lines. And then that rendering that's looking west on 7th. The D5 block of the 7th Avenue sub-area, this is a mixed-use block with continuous 7th Ave retail frontage. Again, required street wall and facade variations are going to minimize the appearance of this full block building, because we do have a couple of these larger full blocks within the district. We're providing meaningful 8th Ave streetscape improvements. Again, another planned park around this existing grand tree. And the incremental height does pull away from 7th Ave and the single-family homes that are located on 8th Avenue. This is in elevation of D5 from 8th Ave looking south. The C5 block within the 7th Avenue overlay, again, this is also a mixed-use block with retail frontage along 7th. As you can see here, similar deal, planned park around the existing grand tree. Our new development is going to replace the existing surface parking lot, and the top story will be limited to 50% of the 7th Ave frontage with that 20-foot setback. And that's an elevation from 7th Ave looking north. And that is all I have. I am happy to answer any questions or give you all any more clarification. I did want to note that there were a host of conditions that we discussed prior. Heather went over these. And let me see if you have these up here. Okay. I did want to note one thing regarding these conditions. Let me pull it up. I did want to put in the record, just to make sure, that this, let's see, condition number 9 with all of, sorry, I'm like calling you up to the stand, but we wanted to make sure that it's only for top stories that reach above 55 feet. I want to make sure if that's clear. And for the corners, it's only for 25 feet along North and South Streets, if that makes sense.
I think that was the intent, that the
Yep.
total height is still less
Sure.
than 60 feet.
Okay.
And
Yep.
it's
Yep.
pulled
Pulled
back
back.
if it's 60
Okay.
feet.
Okay, that's great. And just applicable in the historic district?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We have already taken the conditions from the last hearing and we've adopted those into the site plan that will go before city council. So all of that's been incorporated in the design guidelines and on the site plan already. But if there's, anything additional, please let me know. And we can make adjustments. Our city council hearing is this Thursday, but we do have the opportunity to make adjustments between readings if you all need it. So please let me know.
Get back to our normal process here. Heather, do you want to kind of summarize? I know you already kind of went through your staff report. Anything you want to add or change, or stay with what you?
Yes, I'll restate that our recommendation is consistent with conditions. The conditions that Dana passed out are from our staff analysis and the staff report. And again, it's at the BLC's pleasure to adopt or alter or delete any of those conditions.
Okay. Anyone here from the public wishing to comment? Seeing none, we'll start with some questions of the applicant and or staff. Mr. Corley?
I'm good right now, thank you.
I'd like to look at comment or whatever we're calling these, condition 13. Clarify what the BLC on conditions to the specialty type A street setback regulations to start east of 22nd Street instead of east of 23rd. Can you go into that a little bit more, because memory is what it is, and I can't recall what we discussed last time.
I'll say that is a condition that you put in.
Right, but I don't know why we did.
Yes, after going back, we did not know if it was in fact east of 23rd Street, because 23rd Street is already within that specialty type A street area. So staff was looking for clarification on that, because when we looked at the maps and looked at the comment, we felt that everything east of 23rd Street was already included in that specialty type A street setback.
Can we look at that in the presentation?
Let's see,
Because type, 22nd Street is a type B street, right? Those are- Type B
Yeah,
are like transit corridors.
But I think we were probably talking about, maybe back then, it wasn't showing, so the A's are what color?
This is specialty A?
No, I think we were talking in regards to, what I recall was, I think we were talking about up in the sheriff's office area, the transitional, whatever you're calling it, the
Transitional subarea?
A and the B's and the C, 4.
Oh, transit, yep.
So
transit-oriented
what
street.
what is this, what is the type A color?
Pink.
Is that pink?
Yes,
If you could zoom out, I think there's a legend.
sure, yeah.
Pink is type A, blue is the Paseo.
in the record, it was stated as specialty street type A, and that's why that
Specialty
condition
street
is written that way. So that's why we're asking for the clarification. Was it type A, or did you intend specialty street type A?
No idea.
Mr. Chair, if you'd like, I can read from the minutes. What was?
May be helpful.
Okay, Dana Crosby Collier, City Attorney's Office. Number 13, applicant shall consider changing the specialty type A street setback regulations to start east of 22nd Street instead of east of 23rd Street.
And I will note that after the hearing, we thought that that might have been a misinterpretation, since it already does start east of 22nd, so I just want to note that it could have just been an oversight, so.
Can we look at the statement about the setbacks on Specialty Street type A again? I think you had it in this presentation. Just so, to be clear. Let's see. Is it east of 23rd?
I think we were trying to consolidate those top two bullet
I
points.
think it was because between 22nd and 23rd, we limited that to 50% of the frontage. And I think we wanted that minimum 20 to go all the way from 22nd to 26th. Because what it was allowing was between 22nd and 23rd was only 50% of the frontage. And we would prefer to see that continue from 22nd to 26th, not have these two different conditions. I think that's the point we were trying to make.
Consolidate.
Yeah, to be more consistent along the entire experience of 7th Street. Not that there would be frontages that were higher than that minimum 20 setback anywhere along that.
Correct, and I think that also feeds into comment, or condition number 9, where we're talking about 20 feet. Top floor setbacks from the primary wall on 7th Avenue frontage, and also at corners, which can go down to 15 feet.
When they,
But that also
when they turn perpendicular to 7th. Yeah, because 9th does seem to say all other top heights, other than those that are perpendicular to 7th, remain at the proposed 20-foot minimum. And I think in 13, we wanted to clarify that we believe that minimum 20-foot setback should be consistent all along 7th from 22nd through 26th Street. Does that make sense?
And I think our staff revision to number 9 to specify all along 7th Avenue was to capture that. So I don't know if 13 is now repetitive.
I think we just take 13 out and just clarify it in 9 that it means from 22nd all the way through 26th. Yeah. All right, that's my only question. Thank you.
My only question would be more so for the record and what is traveling one more time. I know there was some language used in the presentation today that said from the last presentation, and we went through 1, but I know we were presented 2 previously. So is just this 1 traveling, or will both be added to the record today?
Today's presentation will go to City Council along with your recommendations. And you did have, that is true, you had 2 meetings. That's all part of like the docket of events, right?
Hey, good, good morning. Just one quick question I had was just about the grand oak tree preservation. I heard that just 8 out of 9 grand trees would be protected. I just was trying to look through the staff report, like which grand tree was gonna, I think it was 8 out of the 9.
We have natural resources here, if you'd like clarification from them, or
I
we
think
also
I have a diagram, so it might be helpful here. If it would show it on here.
With a pink.
Yeah, the pinks are the ones that are preserved, but I was hoping it would show. This might be the proposed removal. I can pull up the plans and confirm. Sorry, these tree inventory sheets are like massive. This is the one that is proposed. This is the 1 grand, the 1 out of 9 that's proposed for removal. So that's, let's see, east of 22nd and north of 8th. Let's see. So, where they're labeled. East of 22nd and north. So it's the C4 block. And that one is, I remember this now. This is, let's see. As you can see, it's located in the middle of the block, so we were kind of really limited with what we could do in terms of reasonable reconfiguration there.
And I don't have any questions for the applicant. I think thank you for the presentation and going through that. So helpful as a refresher and making sure we're legit moving forward. Any other questions for the applicant or staff? Okay. Alex, you have a few minutes if you want to summarize any comments or touch on any of these bullet points, and we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing.
Sure, yeah, we'll waive the rebuttal unless you all have anything else for me, but if not, I think we covered it all.
Okay, great. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and have discussion among, of the case among ourselves on the record. Mr. Cahill.
I support this rezoning because I think Ybor City needs this type of density on the east side to make it really a vibrant community.
I agree.
I'm on the same page. I agree as well.
Yeah, no further comment, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of good information here. I think we've beat this up pretty good on previous hearings. I do have a question for legal. For the motion, when we get there, should we be able to reference the prior public hearings, even though we rescinded that motion, but is a testimony still given at those hearings? Should that be incorporated as one of the conditions in our motion, just to capture that? Because I think it's an important part of the record, even though we officially rescinded it.
Right.
But I think there's excellent discussion that we had at that point in time, and should that still be part of the record as well as the public hearing today, as well as the May 5th hearing, or should this just kind of stand on its own?
The Dana Crosby, Collier Legal, in the motions that are before you on the paper, they are from your work previously on this project and the minutes and working with the applicant. So what is on the paper before you is consistent with the presentation provided today, as well as the previous information you received. So you should be good to go with the way the motion is drafted today. Does that answer your?
Yes, it does.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and I have no other comments. I think this is a nice project. I think we beat this up pretty good and talked about a few things that were important to us that made its way into the conditions here. I think this would be a welcome addition to the neighborhood, and I think we can kind of move forward with an action here.
I move to recommend City Council approve BLC 26-000091/REZ 26-00000028 for the property described as a 30.63 plus or minus acre assemblage comprising 55 parcels, 38 of which are located in the Ybor City Historic District, generally located in the area bound by East 11th Avenue to the north, North 26th Street on the east, East 4th Avenue to the south, and North 19th Street on the west for the proposed rezoning change from YC1, YC2, YC4, YC5, YC6, YC7, and YC8 to YC-9 PDA with the following conditions. Any new building that's adjacent to a contributing structure shall have the top story setback for Type A street. There will be no vertical expansion of contributing structures within the PDA/YC9 zoning. Additional stories, rooftops, additions, and increases to the height of any contributing structure are prohibited. The maximum permitted building height on block B8 shall be reduced from the current height limit 60 feet to 45 feet. The maximum permitted building height on the north half of block C4 shall be reduced to 45 feet. A certificate of appropriateness is required for all exterior work. All exterior construction work on the rezoned property, including new construction, additions, alterations, and demolitions, shall be subject to the CA process administered by the Barrio Latino Commission. No exterior work shall commence without an approved CA except for ordinary repair and maintenance to the extent expressly exempted by the Ybor City Historic District regulations and code. 6, the applicant is prohibited from utilizing the substantial change determination process set forth in 27-12(8) (B) to obtain any administrative approval for height increases for any parcel in the PDA/YC9 zoning. New curb cuts are prohibited along 7th Avenue in the Ybor City Historic District. All vehicular ingress and egress for properties fronting 7th Avenue shall be taken from side streets, alleys, or existing access points only. 8, architectural breaks shall be designed at intervals of no more than 25 feet to 50 feet along each public street frontage. For the purpose of this condition, an architectural break means meaningful change in facade plane, material, fenestration pattern, or equivalent treatment that is sufficient to read as a separate building component consistent with the rhythm of buildings in the Ybor City Historic District. 9, all 7th Avenue top-story front walls shall be set back 20 feet from the primary wall, and all 7th Avenue street corner sidewalls shall be set back a minimum of 15 feet from the primary wall edge. All other top heights to remain at the proposed 20-foot minimum. 10, traditional storefront designs will be considered for zero lot line commercial entrances, including recessed entries, plate glass display windows, bulkhead bases, and truncated entries. Balconies and canopies will be introduced where feasible. Within the entitlement chart, provide setbacks for each street type and distinguish the max height and top floor height for each block. 12, applicant will work with natural resources staff on the grand tree count during the incremental review process. 13.
13's out. 'cause
13's
we
out,
agreed
okay.
that
Okay. Designate a public space and/or greenway with A4 to provide potential connectivity to the streetcar station. For the reasons that this application meets the Tampa City Code of Ordinances, the Ybor City Design Guidelines, the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, the Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation, the National Park Bulletin, guidelines for preparing national landmark nominations, and the testimony given at this public hearing today.
I second the motion.
All in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need some water?
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Vila, I'm staff with Historic Preservation. Our next agenda item is BLC-26-00134/TAC-CPA 26-02. This is for the address of 1701 East 2nd Avenue. The request is for a comp plan amendment from LI to UMU 60. On page 4 of your staff report are your duties and powers under Chapter 2795A2H. With regards to the application for rezoning, changes to land use classifications, or comprehensive plan amendment, is to review and recommend reasonable land use changes to the extent necessary to preserve the historic integrity and appearance. At this time, I'm going to show you some photos of the area in question. This here is our vicinity map. The property in question is just highlighted in green here. This is an aerial. This is Adamo Drive. This is 17th Street to the west. You have 18th to the east and 2nd Avenue to the north. This is the Sanborn map. I clouded the area in question. You see it's on the southern fringe of the historic district. Just some pictures. This is on the corner of 2nd Avenue and 17th Street, looking to the south towards Adamo. As you get towards Adamo, the area in question is just this parking area from here to here. You have the Kwanzaa huts to the north. You have Adamo to the south. And once again, this is between 17th and 18th. This is looking from 17th to the east. This is looking from the eastern property line back towards 17th, with Adamo's here, and then here's the Kwanzaa huts. just to give you a totality picture of what's going on, this is Second Avenue. This is the front of the Kwanzaa Huts, which is now the pickleball. And just to put everything in context, Second Avenue, 17th Street, and that's the pickleball courts. To bring everything into focus, this area received a comp plan amendment. The area in question was left out for some reason. I'll let the agent go into details. But in 2023, there was a more global approach that came forward, which was here. You see the historic district boundaries here. This is everything within the district to the north. What we're talking about this morning is just this little area right here. This is Admiral, 17th, and then you have 18th over here. So all of this has been received a favorable recommendation for the comp plan amendment. I'm going to share a couple other graphics. Hopefully this brings everything into focus for you. As part of that more global approach, there were some areas outside of the district to the south. Once again, we're focusing on what's in the district that's already been approved and just this little hyphen here. What was reviewed and approved in the past, this is the adopted future land use. Once again, I try to highlight it here so you focus here, but these areas were reviewed and approved. This was the proposed, once again, and they're trying to bring this little sliver in to match the abutting property to the north. At that public hearing in 2023, the Barrio Latino looked at this request, and for the area at 1701 East 2nd Avenue, the borough recommended approval as presented with a 5-0 vote. Once again, we're just focusing on this one little portion that's to the north of Admiral in between 17th and 18th Street. Hopefully that gives you kind of background, and I'll have the agent come forward at this time.
Alex Shaler, 400 North Ashley Drive, with the law firm of Gardner Brewer Hudson. Ron went through a lot of the information that I was going to cover, so I'll make this pretty brief. As Ron mentioned, yes, this area was part of a larger plan amendment that we had filed. We amended the land north of Adamo. It was all part of the same CPA. We had it broken out into two pieces. You might recall that. The southern portion was in conjunction with Ybor Harbor. At the time, the main focus was Ybor Harbor, but we thought, we needed some cleanup done north of Adamo, so we went ahead and roped them in to the same CPA. Yes, as mentioned, this piece was left out. It's really interesting. This is the only piece of right-of-way right there along Adamo that's private property, and we still can't figure out how this was acquired or how this was originally vacated, but it has since been acquired, and at the time, our client was in the process of acquiring that strip, so they did not own it at the time, which is why it wasn't included before. And then whenever we were going back through this, we looked at it and we're like, wait a second, this still has the light industrial land use. So again, this is more of a cleanup item just to get that southern piece changed to UMU 60 in conjunction with that northern parcel. Very small site, 0.39 acres. Again, it currently serves as a parking lot. Planning Commission found the application consistent largely because I know there's kind of an overarching concern about losing industrial land in this area, but just given the size of the site, we can't accommodate any reasonable industrial users on the 0.4 acre site. So again, this is more of a cleanup item, but happy to answer any questions. The Planning Commission Board did recommend approval along with staff. So again, any questions, let me know. Happy to answer them. That's it for me.
Good morning, Ron Vila with Historic Preservation. Just to remind you, I read into the record, but your duties and powers under Chapter 2795 A2H, review what you have in front of you, make reasonable land use changes to preserve the integrity and appearance of the district. Staff's finding that this project is consistent with that code section with the plans that we looked at on May 19, 2026. We do have Emily with the Planning Commission here, and we have, oh, Mary left. I'm sorry, we had Natural Resources here, but she left. But I'm here to answer any questions, and we have the agent as well. Thank you.
Vila. Anyone here from the public wishing to comment on this case? Seeing none, we can ask questions of the applicant. Mr. Corley?
I'm good for now, thank you.
No questions at this time.
I have none either.
No questions.
Yeah, I don't have any questions either. I think this is just a pretty straightforward housekeeping item. You have a few minutes if you want to summarize any comments, or we can just...
I'll just waive the rebuttal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Any discussion on the case? Mr. Cahill?
No.
I have nothing.
No. Any discussion?
No.
No. Like I said, I think this is pretty straightforward, just kind of cleaning up something that got kind of passed over in the past. And we believe we'd be looking for a recommendation for a comp plan amendment.
Move to recommend City Council approve BLC -26-0000134/TA CPA 26-02 for the property located at 1701 East 2nd Avenue for the proposed land use, or how was it titled?
Comp plan.
Comprehensive plan amendment from LI Light Industrial to UMU 60 Urban Mixed Use, with no conditions, for the reasons that, and I lost my place, so sorry. For the reasons that the change in land use classification under the comprehensive plan is consistent with the districts.
Second?
All in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion to receive and file.
Make a motion to receive and file all instruments provided today, including staff approvals for the month, to the record.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor of said motion to receive and file, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Bonds, do you have something?
No, sir.
Okay. The next Barrio Latino public hearing is Tuesday, July 28th at 9 a.m. in City Council Chambers. Seeing no more business in front of us, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.